Hi everybody, and welcome to Everydaymana. Today we are going to be making one of my favorite meals. Now, we've done a corned beef in our crock pot several years ago, but today we're going to be using what has become a very popular appliance, and that is the Instant Pot. I have grown to love this thing. It does so much. So today I want to show you how to cook a corned beef, and we're going to have corned beef and cabbage, and then I'm going to show you what you can do with your leftovers and make probably my favorite sandwich, which is a Reuben sandwich. So I'm going to show you how to do that with any potential leftovers that you might have. Now, my Instant Pot is, I believe this is an 8-quart, but you know, they come in different sizes, they come in different brands. Mine is actually the Instant Pot brand, but you know, they're all basically the same. They all work the same. This recipe will work in a 6-quart. It will work in the 8-quart. It will work in, you know, any Instant Pot that you have. So I know they can be a little bit intimidating. I actually had this. I bought it, and it probably sat in the box unused for 6 months because I was like, you know, it's a little intimidating, even for someone who really likes to cook and likes to experiment. But then I was like, you know, I'm just going to try this thing, and oh my goodness, am I ever glad I did. I love it. I find the food tastes moister, the meat. I've cooked pot roasts, I've cooked corned beef, I've made just many different things in it, and it just tastes more moist. It doesn't dry out. Even in a slow cooker, I've cooked corned beef in my slow cooker for years. It tastes better cooked in here. So I wanted to show you how to do it. Now, an important thing to look for in the grocery store when you're buying a corned beef. A corned beef is a brisket. It's a cut of beef off of the cow that is a huge, I mean, it's like this big. It's twice plus the size of this thing. But the front end of it is the point cut, and the back end of it is the flat cut. I believe I've got it right. It's either the front end's the point, could be backwards. This could be the front, that could be the back. But anyway, you can buy 2 types of corned beef, a point cut and a flat cut. I prefer the flat cut. The point cut has way too much fat throughout the meat, and it does not slice as easy as the flat cut. So look for flat cut, and it'll say that right on the package. Now, I already, inside your package of corned beef will be a little plastic baggy type thing with spices in it. And I already put the spices down in the bottom of my pot. So I just went ahead and cut that and put that down in the bottom. That's all that's in there. And I'm going to put the corned beef fat side down. Now, it does have a fair amount of fat, but that's okay. You want that because that's going to keep it tasty and add a lot of flavor to it. And you will have, anytime you're using an Instant Pot, you have to add some kind of liquid. It needs at least a cup because it builds up pressure. So what I'm going to do, and this will vary depending on the size of your corned beef and the size of your pressure cooker or the Instant Pot, which is basically a pressure cooker. You want to put enough water in it, that's all you need, to come up just barely touching the top. That's probably in mine, let's see, I think I had like 6 cups. That's about 4.5 cups of water. That's all you need to do. Now, you want to take your lid, put it on there, and turn it to where it seals. Well, let me show you something else. You need to always make sure that this little gasket, this little rubber gasket, is securely down in, there's some clamps there, and you want to make sure that that's securely in there. Then put your lid on. Come on, you. You gotta kind of wiggle it around a little bit till it gets down in there. And then it says on here, open and close. There'll be a little knob on the top of yours. It will say sealing and vent. You want to make sure that it just turns real easy, that it's on sealing. Now, I find, and I think what is the most confusing to people are all these little, you know, my particular one has a button for soup, has a button for meat, cake, eggs, saute, slow cook, steam, pour, and so on and so on. I don't do any of those. I have used the saute. That's the only one I've used. What I do use is the manual button. So what you want to do is push the manual button, and this particular cut of corned beef takes approximately 90 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to go about 1 hour and 12 minutes or so. And that's all you got to do. Mine was preset because I already had it preset. It will automatically default to the last setting you had. But there's a plus and a minus button to change your time, either subtract it or add it. That's all you need to do. That's it. So this is now going to build up pressure. Make sure it's on sealing. This little button here will rise. This will count down. The beauty of this is once it stops timing, it will automatically go into warm mode. So you can really, truly just kind of set it and forget it, so to speak. It's done. Doesn't heat up the house, you don't have to do anything else. Just let it go. It's a wonderful, wonderful appliance, and we're gonna be doing more meals with our Instant Pot. Now, to go alongside corned beef, I've got some Irish blood in me. My mother's family's Odell. So, you know, obviously there's some Irish in there, but you don't have to be Irish to want corned beef and cabbage. They just go hand in hand. They're delicious together. So I'm going to saute just a head of green cabbage. Now, I like to saute my cabbage in a little bit of bacon. I cook cabbage many different ways. Let me get this going. I steam it, I do all kinds of stuff. So what I have here is just some bacon. And what I like to do is go ahead and chop my bacon with a good sharp knife. This knife is very sharp. Fingers tucked under. Cut your bacon up. And then put it in your pan. You will want a pan that has a lid with it. I know, you know, a lot of skillets and saute pans don't come with lids, so you can pick up universal lids if you need to. And I have a couple of those that I use for skillets and things like that. Let me cut that piece a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is just brown this bacon. I'm going to cook the bacon in the skillet. That's all I'm going to do at this point. I'm going to take a quick break, clean up here. When I come back, we will chop the cabbage, get it in the skillet, and we'll check on our corned beef. I'll be back in just a minute. All righty, now, I moved the Instant Pot to over there so I could work a little bit, but I've got my bacon. It's browning up real nice. I just put a little splatter guard on it so it wouldn't make such a mess. I just leave the bacon in there and the drippings, and I've got 1 head of cabbage here that I'm gonna cut in half if I can. Okay. And you can cut it into any shape you like. I just kind of like little thinner shreds. I cut it in half this way, and then I just cut it into little shreds. I love cabbage. I would say it probably is my favorite vegetable, although I really like all kinds of vegetables. But you can cut it in any shape that you want. I just like these little thin, little ribbony shapes. Where's my little, there it is. And as I cut it, I'm gonna add it to the skillet with the bacon and all those drippings, because that's flavor, my friend. Okay, cut a little more. You could use red cabbage for this too if you wanted. Up to you. Just put a little more cabbage in there, because I love cabbage. I would just about rather have the cabbage than the corned beef. Love it. And it's so good for you. I like to just separate it a little bit before I put it in the skillet. Just a little bit. That was about 6 slices of bacon or so. And 3/4 of a head of cabbage. That'll be plenty. Stir it all together. You want to cut your heat down just a little bit. Mine's on like medium. Add some salt. About 1/2 teaspoon. That's a 1/2 teaspoon measure. And some pepper, as much as you like. You know me, I like pepper. Stir that all together. Now you really want to get that cabbage coated with the bacon drippings. It doesn't take very long at all to cook. And I like to add a little bit of butter to mine. If you had some caraway seed, caraway is delicious in the cabbage. I just don't have any, but sometimes I add it. Add some butter to it, just adds a wonderful little flavor. Stir that in. Scrape up the bottom as you can, as that cabbage will release a lot of liquid. And so we're gonna scrape up the bottom, get those bits, that flavor off the bottom of the pan. You don't want to waste that. And that's it. Turn it down. I'm going to put it down to like, mine goes from 1 to 9. I'm going to put it down to like 4. And I'm going to cover it and let that go for just a few minutes. Doesn't take it long. I don't like my cabbage really, really mushy. I like it more, not crunchy, but kind of in between. Now, if by some chance you happen to have any leftovers, and I actually already have a corned beef cooked because it does take quite a bit of time. So I just took this out of the broth earlier. If you have any leftovers, you could make an absolutely fabulous sandwich with that, which is what I'm gonna do today. We're gonna make a Reuben sandwich, and we're gonna actually make our own homemade Russian dressing. I have here, I'm gonna show you how to do the dressing. I have here just some mayonnaise, about 3/4 of a cup or so. I'm gonna add some chili sauce. Just, you buy it right there where you buy barbecue sauce. I'm gonna add some ketchup. We're gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper and some sweet pickle relish. And folks, that's all there is to Russian dressing. Of course, you could buy it if you wanted to. And there you go, a quick and easy Russian salad dressing. If you left out the chili sauce, you would have Thousand Island salad dressing. That's the difference between the two. So you just want to kind of stir that, set it to the side. To make a Reuben sandwich, whoops, let's go back to my cabbage. You want to kind of stir that ever so often because you don't want it to burn, you don't want it to stick. This is not a non-stick pan, this is a stainless steel pan. That smells so good. To make a good Reuben sandwich, there's a couple of things you need to know about your corned beef. First of all, let me get a spatula here to help me. Corned beef has a very, very distinctive, now I like to turn mine over And I like to scrape off that fat layer. It has quite a thick fat cap. Just scrape it off and discard that, the fat cap. But you want to leave it on while you're cooking because that will render and make that corned beef even more moist and delicious. Now, if you will notice, this corned beef has a very, very distinctive grain. You can visibly see it. It just runs like this. You want to cut it the opposite. You want to cut it against the grain. So my grain is running like this. So I want to cut my slices the other way. And what that will do is make short little fibers so it's not quite as chewy. If you cut it with the grain, you're going to have a massive, massive chew to it. This is so good. Oh, look how that just slices so beautifully. And look how moist. I mean, really, this is just very, very moist. Let's try it. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Absolutely delicious. So we're going to slice it. That other little piece, let's scrape off that fat cap. I want to leave it on there for cooking. I just don't want to eat it. And see, the beautiful thing about that flat cut, the middle part of it, this is all meat. Whereas if you bought that point cut, you would have a whole lot. The grain is running this way. So I'm going to slice it against the grain. This is absolutely delicious, people. And all you use is that little spice packet and water. That's it, in your Instant Pot. And in approximately 90 minutes, you're going to have a delicious, tender, moist corned beef cut from what is really a very tough cut of meat, the brisket. But it just, oh, it's just delicious. I just can't describe to you how good it truly is. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break, just clean up, leave this here. When I come back, I'm gonna show you how to make the Reuben. Cabbage will be done, and we will get to eating. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious sandwich, the way that I like it. Now, I have here Jewish rye bread, which is what I like. My Reuben is typically served on rye bread, and I personally like seeded. Now, you can get it two ways. You can get it no seeds or seed. I like Pepperidge Farm, and I like the seeded Jewish rye bread. And that's what it looks like. I'm gonna make mine in a panini press because I have one. If you don't have a panini press, you can make this just like you make a grilled cheese sandwich. The same process, only you're gonna put it in a skillet, let that side brown, flip it over, let that side brown, and the cheese melt, just like you would make a grilled cheese sandwich. But because I have a panini press, I'm gonna make mine in a panini press. I like to take some softened butter, just a little bit, on the outside of the bread. It's gonna go like that, so I'm gonna put it on this side. Because if you turn it over, they don't match up as good. I don't know if you know that or not, but you do need to think about those things when you're making a sandwich. Okay, I'm gonna open up my panini press. I'm gonna spray it just a little bit, even though it has nonstick spray coatings. I'm gonna put one piece of that down. I'm going to put a piece of Swiss cheese, kind of tear it a little bit. 1 piece of Swiss cheese, some of my corned beef. It's okay if it breaks apart, that's okay. Then I'm gonna put what is probably one of my favorite parts of this whole sandwich, and that is sauerkraut. I personally don't put dressing on my sandwiches, but I know most people do. So if you were gonna put dressing on your sandwich, I would have put it down below my corned beef. And then another piece, or you could put it on this side of your bread. A piece or 2 more of Swiss cheese. Oh, so good. My mouth is watering. And then your other piece of bread, and shut your little panini press down. Now, the thing I like about the panini press is that it cooks both sides at the same time. There's a little hinge on the back that lets it, you know, adjust to the height of your sandwich. Oh, yum. Just takes a minute. I'm gonna scoot it back just a little bit. Okay, we're just gonna let that go. Now let me show you how to do one if you were putting the dressing on there. Let's just do that. So most people do like dressing on theirs. I don't. I think it takes away from the flavor of the corned beef, but that's just me. I like to put a little butter on the outside to help it crisp up and brown in your panini press. Okay, so if you were going to use the dressing, turn over one side of your sandwich and put you some of the dressing down on the bottom. A slice of Swiss cheese. I like to put a slice of Swiss cheese on both sides because that helps it to stay together as the cheese melts. It acts almost like a glue. Put some of your corned beef on there. This is so tender, it's just literally falling apart. And then some sauerkraut. You've got to have sauerkraut on a Reuben sandwich. I mean, I think you do, obviously. You do whatever you like. If you don't like sauerkraut, you could leave it off. But traditionally, it does have sauerkraut. And I like to drain my sauerkraut as much or as little as you like. Then some more Swiss cheese. And then your other top. Let's check our sandwich. Doesn't take very long at all. Oh, look at that. My cheese is melted. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm gonna put this one on. The thing I like about the panini press is it cooks both sides at the same time. So it's very fast. Very handy little machine. You could cook chicken breasts in here, you know, like boneless, skinless chicken breasts or thighs. You could cook a multitude of things in your panini press. I saw a program the other day where somebody had a little bit of a bigger one, and they actually cooked a spatchcocked Cornish hen in there, in the panini press. I was like, wow, I never thought about doing that. But I want to show you, I'm funny about sandwiches. Sandwiches have to be cut on the diagonal. I don't know why, but in my mind, they got to be cut on the diagonal. And so there is a delicious, look at that, gooey, melted, absolutely perfect Reuben sandwich. And you know, we got to taste it. Oh. So good. So, so good. Absolutely delicious. Absolutely scrumptiously delicious. I like them made in the panini press, but again, if you don't have one, don't worry about it. Just use a skillet, a nonstick skillet. Do the very same thing I did. Put one side down. You can even take your spatula and press it a little bit until that cheese melts and your bread toasts, and then flip it over. and it'll be done, and it's good to go. Our cabbage is done. I like it just to be, you know, a little bit on the crisp side. I just do not like my cabbage to be mushy. But you, of course, can cook it to whatever desired doneness that you like. So there's some great sautés in a matter of 5 or 6 minutes. And then if you want to serve your corned beef just as a dinner, feel free, just like that. Then if you have any leftovers, or honestly, I would cook that corned beef just to have this sandwich. You can make your leftovers into a delicious Reuben sandwich. Can't wait to dive into that. But there you go. Here's another one with our dressing on there. Look how pretty that is. That's just, oh, that's just the perfect sandwich. I need a little bit bigger knife than that one. I like them cut on the diagonal. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But there you go. Using what I personally think is one of the greatest cooking appliances to come along in a very long time, our Instant Pot. Let's go over here, if we can get a camera shot here. Let me show you one quick little thing. Can we get a shot right here? Do I need to move this stuff?